It is now time for us to do some goddamn research. Ooh, and it's got little sources down here in the bottom. Do you love me? I don't know, Zuck 2. Can you stop telling me I'm stinky? Oh, man. Okay. All right, my friends. Now, here's what I'm going to be doing for the next at least 2 hours. I am going to be learning as hard as I can, as quickly as I can, and I am going to try my best to make it entertaining. All right? Yeah, give me some Bolivian shit. Learn about them. I've heard about the Mondragon Corporation. Sure sounds spooky. Let's start with YouTube videos, okay? So this is Richard Wolff. Here's Richard Wolff, 8 minutes. Here, we're gonna start with Richard Wolff, okay? We're gonna work ourselves up a little bit, all right? Need to change the stream title. There we go. All right, don't link me any more shit. I gotta focus. He's a slow speaker.
Under control. There's not some solution around the corner. Mr. Trump doesn't have a magic wand any more than Mrs. Clinton or Mr. Obama did or could have had. It's a system spinning out of control, and more people are getting dimly, slowly, because it's scary, the notion that their real options and choices in this life are whether to go down with it. Finally, what's the option? What's the option? Again, there is an option. I learned today of a group of cab drivers in Austin, Texas, 360 of them, who just formed a cooperative taxi business. They were successful in driving Uber and Lyft out of that Austin. They were there, they're gone, and in their place is this worker cooperative that has set up in Austin, Texas, to run that business. And that business is attracting worker co-ops quite a bit. Our little organization, Democracy at Work, is working with one in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is likewise trying to set up this kind of business. Why do I talk to you so much about worker co-op businesses? Because it's an alternative to capitalism. It's a way out. It's something to do. It's a direction to take to get out of this mess which is deteriorating and presenting us with the Trumps of this world. You know that Trump is not unique. The establishment in England thought that everybody would vote to stay in Europe. They didn't. It's the exact same story. If I understand correctly, the liberal socialist president of France currently has an approval rating of 4%. Which is an achievement. I don't believe any leader has ever achieved this before. And wow. He's a socialist in the sense he went along with everything. He didn't think there would be anger and upset against going along, saying that at least he's not as bad as the conservatives in France, and he isn't. Just like the Democrats here aren't as bad as the Republicans. They aren't. But we're not at that anymore. That won't work. That won't cut it anymore. It's done. And Mr. Hollande is discovering that to his sorrow. The Syriza government in Greece is on the edge of discovering the same thing.
Imagine, just fucking imagine, working your entire life to be a civil servant, to be a public official, to get elected to the presidency, and the best you can muster to defend your system of beliefs is, well, at least we're not as bad as the other guy. Just fucking imagine.
The Portuguese government, which I believe I've told you is an alliance of the communist, socialist, and Green parties. That's the government of Portugal. I'm sure you all knew that, right? That the government of Portugal is a coalition of those three parties, because the press in this country would want you to know that the people of Portugal made that decision in their last election. Yes, they did. They're all worried. They don't know where to go. Let me be so bold. Here is where you go. You develop a worker co-op sector. You say, this is a way for you to have a job where the job and the security and the income are the number one priority, not profit. You're not driven by profit first and everything else later. Profit is second or third or fourth. First is the quality.
This isn't really what I'm looking for. He's just talking about the urgency with which we must implement worker co-ops. This isn't really on the theory. Hold on. Okay. Reliable and well-sourced source. Well-sourced source. Thank you. Important to keep in mind that cooperatives under our current system are still subject to biases and policies within our system. Yeah, of course. Co-ops still have like a pretty big set of problems here in this system. Not only is it really difficult to get banks to loan to them, it's shit. But it's difficult to get workers to organize, to get them to believe in the efficacy of worker co-ops. And yeah, like worker co-ops don't make people not sexist. I'm just making an argument for democratically run businesses. because that is like the big question with market socialism. Are worker cooperatives the alternative to capitalism? Co-ops show that workers can run production, but don't offer a strategy for changing society. Again, I'm not looking for co-ops to like begin the revolution or anything. I'm looking for examples of the efficacy of co-ops to indicate that in a society which is already socialist, that they could function and be a boon to the economy. Okay, cool. All right, are you ready for some fucking article reading? I know what you're against, but what are you for? That's a question that socialists often hear. Capitalism, in the words of the Marxist economist Richard Wolff, is a system characterized by endlessly repeating cycles, costly bailouts for financiers, and now austerity for most people, with recurring tendencies towards extreme and deepening inequalities of wealth, income, and political and cultural power. Any such system needs to be replaced, but what is the alternative? In an op-ed for the British newspaper The Guardian, Wolff argues that he is a successful alternative to capitalism already exists. He reports on a recent visit to the Mondragon Corporation, based in the Basque region of Spain, the largest workers' co-op in the world. Over the past few years, Wolff has been perhaps the most prominent economist who has attempted to explain to a general audience how the financial crisis of 2008 was rooted in capitalism itself. He also rightly rejects Soviet-style bureaucratic planning as a solution, describing it as state capitalist rather than socialist or communist. For both those reasons, the anti-capitalist model that he proposes deserves serious attention. Mondragon was founded in 1956 and originally made paraffin heaters with a handful of workers, but over half a century later, it has developed into an economic giant. Today is the 7th biggest Spanish company, employing over 80,000 people in financial, industrial, retail, and knowledge divisions with over $19 billion of sales in 2012 and 86 subsidiaries in 17 countries. According to Wolff, in each enterprise, the co-op members collectively own and direct the enterprise. Through an annual General Assembly, the workers choose and employ a managing director and retain the power to make all the basic decisions of the enterprise. He goes on to paint a very positive picture of how Mondragon functions, concluding MC seems like a welcome oasis in a capitalist desert. Wolff is absolutely right that workers' control of the means of production must be a central element of a genuine socialist alternative to capitalism. If you guys are bored, by the way, this is literally going to be the next 3 hours of my life. I am here to learn, okay? And you can learn with me, but that is what we are doing. But he tends to view the Mondragon Cooperative through heavily rose-tinted glasses. I'll return to some of the negative realities that Wolff ignores shortly, but it's worth noting first that, at least in its early years, Mondragon did show that workers are more than capable of successfully running their own workplaces. Where managers are needed, they can be elected by the workers themselves and held accountable for their decisions. In this respect, workers' co-ops, Mondragon and many others, have historically demonstrated that there is a viable alternative to the capitalist organization of production. In his inaugural address to the International Working Men's Association in 1864, Karl Marx, my man, praised the cooperative movement, especially the cooperative factories owned by in unassisted efforts by a full... Christ, I need some water. Especially the cooperative factories raised by the unassisted efforts of a few bold hands. According to Marx, the value of these great social experiments cannot be overrated. By deed, instead of by argument, this is important, they have shown that production on a large scale, and in accord with the behests of modern science, may be carried on without the existence of a class of masters employing a class of hands, that to bear fruit, the means of labor need not be monopolized as a means of dominance over and of extortion against the laboring man himself, and that, like slave labor, like serf labor, hired labor is but a transitory and inferior form, destined to disappear before associated labor, plying its toil with a willing hand, a ready mind, and a joyous heart. But while Marx was right that considered as demonstration these great social experiments were of great importance, he firmly rejected the idea that socialism could be established by the process of setting up one new cooperative after another. Is Wolff advocating for such a strategy? Okay. So it seems to me that this article is discussing that Workers' cooperatives are successful, however, they in and of themselves are not capable of establishing the existence of socialism. I already believed that, but I'm going to read further to see if they discuss the successes of cooperatives themselves. Okay, I'm going to skim a little bit. Idea design transforms, new one cooperatives, fields of production. Find small niche markets in which to survive. The majority will either be driven out of business or be forced to copy the practices used by other employers. This is an important one. Some cooperatives find small niche markets in which to survive, but the majority will either be driven out of business or be forced to copy the practices used by other employers. In Luxembourg words, history of the world's biggest co-op, the Mondragon Cooperative Corporation in Spain, is a perfect illustration of Luxembourg's argument. Mondragon was set up with the ideals of worker production, solidarity, and equality, but as the business has grown bigger and bigger and become more and more integrated into global capitalism, its founding principles have applied only to a shrinking percentage of its workforce. In 1993, Britain's Guardian newspaper reported that Mondragon was restructuring to get ready to compete in the European single market. It noted that increased salary differentials, advertising campaigns, and fortune in cooperative alliances with companies like Hotpoint have had many co-op workers wondering whether in the new Mondragon Cooperative Corporation, some members are more equal than others. Haha, nice meme there. Howdy. By this time, daily life for most Mondragon workers was not noticeably different from working for a more traditional capitalist employer, although with greater job security. Decision-making had become highly centralized, with most co-op members having no say in the company's day-to-day operations. Perhaps not surprisingly, in a survey comparing job satisfaction of Mondragon manual workers with workers in a similarly sized privately owned company, there was little difference between the two groups, with the Mondragon workers slightly less satisfied. A few years later, The Guardian reported MCC members have learned to think like the shareholders of any other global business. In order to protect their jobs from the fluctuations in demand, 20% of the workforce are on part-time or short-term contracts and can easily be shed. The corporation president, Antonio Cancelo, explained, "Our clients cannot guarantee us steady workloads, so we have to have a number of people on temporary contracts. We live in a market economy that we cannot change." Unfortunate. Ethical code, core values. Suffered a blow last November when one of his largest components, domestic suppliers, was forced to declare bankruptcy. Okay. I'm adding this one to the doc. There we go. Guys, look, we read a thing. Nice. Okay. Cooplaw.org. Nice. I'm glad you like the article I shared. I like you, Garland. Don't even worry about it, friend. A growing body of evidence from studies in the U.S. and elsewhere indicate that worker cooperatives are more resilient than conventional businesses on average. There are a number of reasons why this would be. Profit is not their primary objective, so they can flex with economic turbulence. Worker owners are more committed to their workplaces than traditional employees, and worker co-ops have... That's actually a really good point that I don't hear discussed more often. A large part of ensuring productivity from workers is making them feel like a part of the workplace, having them care about what they're producing, what they're a part of. And you're much more likely to get that from a co-op than you are from a privately owned business where you know that you're a disposable cog in the machine. Worker owners are more committed to their workplace than traditional employees, and worker co-ops have a productivity advantage over other businesses. However, worker cooperatives are quite rare in the U.S. This yields a scarcity of data from which to evaluate the survival of these entities, but does not prove that co-ops have a higher failure rate than conventional businesses. Rather, co-ops face unique barriers to entry. Investment in worker cooperatives and the organizations that support them can help lower those barriers and facilitate a more sustainable economy. Yes, this sounds like exactly what I want to read. Okay. Starting any kind of business is risky. Less than half of all businesses survive beyond year 5. Worker co-ops are not immune to this. However, there is a growing literature on the survival of worker cooperatives, which indicates that while a significant percentage of them fail, especially during the early years, they do not fail at a rate that exceeds that of conventionally owned firms. Instead, once created, the expected survival of WCs meets or exceeds that of CFs. WC is worker cooperative, CF is conventionally owned firms. Professor Eric Olson surveyed studies that evaluated hazard functions, the probability of not surviving the midpoint of a 12-month period, of WCs compared to CFs. Because this data is not available for WCs in the United States, the research relied on studies from the UK, Canada, Israel, France, and Uruguay. Olson found across studies that WC hazard rates were lower than CF rates in those countries or in the US. Like CFs, WCs experience an elevated hazard in their early years, but it peaks at year 2 or 3 for WCs and year 1 for CFs, so it takes a little bit longer into the creation of a workers' cooperative for them to have reach the highest risk point for dispersion. Early survival and median lifespan of WCs meet or exceed that of CFs. WCs appear to have comparably long-term survival rates to CFs. Olson concluded that existing research does not support the proposition that WCs, once formed, are at a competitive disadvantage to CFs. European studies echo those results. For example, statistics from France showed a particularly high survival rate of conversions of conventional companies into worker cooperatives. There was a 3-year survival rate of 80 to 90% for these cooperatives, converted from in-crisis or sound enterprises, respectively. Compare this to a 66% 3-year survival rate for all French enterprises. Fascinating. Likewise, the 5-year survival rate of cooperatives formed from existing businesses was 61 to 82%. The figure for all French businesses was 50%. Okay, so it seems pretty evident then, from the evidence provided here, that a transition into a workers' cooperative facilitates a greater likelihood of long-term success for a corporation which is either in crisis or sound than for them to stand as they currently exist. Specific examples. Is it just wages? The Bay Area's Women Action to Gain Economic Security, now Prospera, is one of the country's most successful worker cooperative incubator. In 2013, it had created 5 greenhouse cleaning businesses, providing high-quality employment to over 100 women and generating $3.2 million a year. Holy shit! That's an average profit of $32,000 per person that works there. Not profit, it says generating, not profit. But that's an average of $32,000 per person that works there. For like a new green house cleaning worker cooperative, that's pretty fucking impressive. The executive director, Mehe Sansores, wrote in March 2013 that 2 of Wage's 5 co-ops were launched during the recession, one in 2009 and another of 2011, despite the fact that the national small business failure rate increased by 40% during this time frame, and California's was the worst in the country. All 5 of the co-ops experienced steady growth even during the financial downturn. Holy shit. Just fucking imagine creating, with the fucking balls, creating 5 co-ops during the fucking recession and having all of them succeed. Jesus Christ. Well, 2 of them were launched during the recession, but still. God damn. Specific example, Mondragon. So we know now that Mondragon, as it has expanded, has adopted a more capitalist set of principles for its internal organization, which is unfortunate, but it's also to be expected. This is one of the larger problems with co-ops. It's not necessarily the barriers to entry alone. It's also the fact that as they grow larger, there will be exigent economic pressures which will lead them, in all likelihood, towards adopting policies contrary to their original core values. Other evidence of worker cooperative resilience of employee-owned companies. The most notable and studied form of employee ownership in the U.S. is the Employee Stock Ownership Plan, the Esop. A 2005 study showed that U.S. businesses that were 100% employee-owned were one-third as likely to fail as compared to publicly traded companies. Studies also show that employee-owned companies are more productive and have less employee turnover. Excuse me. ESOP should be distinguished from worker co-ops. However, while ESOPs allow employees to share in company profits, they usually do not convey 100% ownership, nor the democratic control of the business that characterize worker co-ops. So these are like worker co-op lights. These are like diet worker co-ops. But 30 to 40% of the 12,000 ESOP companies in the U.S. are 100% worker-owned, and their success rate is instructive. Additionally, the tax incentives that have encouraged employees to offer ESOPs are available for cooperative conversions as well. Interesting. What's the source on this one? Oh, they link to a source down here in the bottom, but they don't provide one. That's a little bit frustrating. Would have been interested in seeing them expand upon that. So I guess co-ops work best in a decentralized way, like maybe a federation of co-ops would work best to alleviate this. I mean, I don't know. It depends on how much they get fucked with from external sources. The source was already provided earlier? Okay, I can go back and look. There appears to be a consensus among studies in a number of countries that cooperatives are more resilient than conventional businesses. Recent Canadian studies. Cooperatives in British Columbia between 2000 and 2010 had a 5-year survival rate of 66.6%. The devil's number! Cast holy fire down upon these devilish worker cooperatives and their democratic ownership. Compared to conventional Canadian businesses, what had a 43 and 39% 5-year survival rate in 1984 and 1993, respectively. Interesting. So even though cooperatives in the British Columbia, one of the polling times, one of the survey times was in 2010, which would have been towards the tail end of the financial crisis, or the recession following the financial crisis at least, which I assume hit Canada as well as the US. I have no reason to believe why it wouldn't. Even though we have this factor sort of fucking with the possible success of businesses during the time, co-ops still pushed out a higher 5-year survival rate substantially than the conventional businesses did in earlier time periods, which were more financially stable. I mean, if I recall correctly, 1993 was during a boom period, wasn't it? Alberta cooperatives created in 2005 and 2006 had a 3-year survival rate of 81.5% compared to 48% for conventional businesses in that province. A 2008 study in Quebec showed that co-ops had a 5-year survival rate of 62% and a 10-year survival rate of 44% compared to 35% and 20% respectively for other Quebec business. Guys, seriously, thank you. Whoever linked this specifically, this has been a wonderful source. A 2012 study by the European Confederation of Workers' Cooperatives, Social Cooperatives, and Social and Participative Enterprises. What an awful fucking name. Jesus Christ. The European Confederation of Workers' Cooperatives, Social Cooperatives, and Social and Participative Enterprises. Esop Psychopa. Jesus fucking Christ. Found that worker cooperatives and social cooperatives in Spain and France have been more resilient than conventional enterprises during the economic crisis. Cooperatives in Italy have shown a lower mortality rate and incidence of bankruptcy than conventional businesses. In 2005, 1% of German businesses were declared insolvent, but the statistics for cooperatives was less than 0.1%. So here's an interesting question. Here's a question that I'd be interested in while reading this. So the evidence seems overwhelming that cooperatives are more resilient than traditionally owned businesses. But here's a question. How much of that disparity is a product of the fact that if you are the owner of a conventionally operated business, it might be in your best interest to drive the business into the ground for personal profit so that you can then leverage its bankruptcy and profit from the downfall of the company? There's no such incentive. Now, mind you, this wouldn't be an argument against co-ops because the fact that this can happen in a traditionally organized company is itself evidence that traditionally organized companies are kind of fucked. But I would be interested to know what that disparity is, because that couldn't happen in a workers' co-op. There is no like one owner to fuck over everything beneath them so they can profit from it. This seems like kind of questionable data. Do you really think so? We got a study from we had a meta-analysis. Look, we had a meta-analysis that stemmed from UK, Canada, Israel, France, and Uruguay. It didn't use US data because none was available at the time, but this doesn't seem like it's cherry-picking. Even the meta-analysis has, on average, substantially higher results. And all of these, I mean, I don't know. This doesn't seem like cherry-picked data to me. This seems to me like pretty, like a pretty solid consensus. All right. Why worker cooperatives are so scarce. Olson's study on the viability of worker cooperatives concluded that their scarcity in the U.S. was due to obstacles to their creation, not to their survival. The report identified the following as the primary reasons that startup businesses are rarely formed as worker cooperatives. You'll dig through some academic journals and see what I find? Oh yeah, please do, and link them here, though I won't be paying attention to chat links for a little while. Workers must take the risk of high cost should the enterprise fail, since in most cases they must make an initial contribution to the business. In addition to losing their jobs, they would also lose this investment. This risk of loss may make taking a job at a conventional business more appealing. Relatedly, these startups are usually credit constrained and lack collateral. Co-ops do not typically offer control to outside investors and rely heavily on loans, which can be hard to come by, or their own limited wealth. Startup costs may be unevenly distributed, and the founders of the co-op may not see a material benefit for the risk they took in starting the business. Yeah, so unique barriers to entry, but these are not faults in their operation. These are just that, barriers to entry. Abel found, and these are all things that could be corrected institutionally. Abel found the following barriers to entry and growing to scale that worker co-ops face. Culture and education. Competition and conventional capitalism are still the dominant culture in the U.S. Business, I'm just going to go over these quickly. Business expertise, partnerships, financing, management and leadership, entrepreneurship, and organizational democracy. And this is an important one. Co-ops need to develop processes for democratic decision-making, as well as training and facilitation, collaboration, and conflict management. This is really, really, really important because hierarchies are easy. If you start a business and you're like, I did it, I made the business, I'm the boss, just listen to me, I'm the boss. That's a very easy system to follow by. Very easy, very intuitive. Difficult to find a much wiggle room there. But in a co-op, if you're trying to democratically manage the decision-making processes of this business, it's a little bit more complicated. This section raises a question of how well off the previous examples were in regard to before they were formed. Well, I assume that there have been plenty of attempts to form a workers' co-op that haven't gotten off the ground because the initial collateral couldn't be collected, which suggests to me that one of the reasons why worker co-ops might be more successful is because of that higher barrier to entry. Because any old motherfucker can start a business with no idea what they're doing, but worker co-ops are more daunting initially, so people tend to make sure they have their T's crossed and their I's dotted before they get started. But even with that being the case, the overall resilience of workers' co-ops, even in long-term scenarios, seems to suggest that the benefits extend beyond merely the propensity for barriers of entry to prevent people from making poor decisions to start workers' co-ops. Does that make sense? I think. Cooperative conversions of existing businesses would seem to avoid many of the impediments that entrepreneurs face when attempting to start a co-op from scratch. So a cooperative conversion, taking a traditional business and making it a cooperative. You have to get the owner on board for that one, though. For example, Olson noted that the equity of an existing business can be used as collateral to finance the purchase from the original owner, and established businesses are less likely to fail. Additionally, the tax incentives that have helped create numerous Esops have led to almost no workative cooperatives, even though the same incentives exist for these conversions. But Olson noted that despite these advantages, cooperative conversions are very rare in the U.S. With greater public awareness and financial support for conversion of existing businesses into worker cooperatives, this co-op creation strategy may hold the most promise and highest success rate. Nice. So by facilitating a conversion from a traditional business to a cooperative, you overcome the initial high barrier to entry for cooperatives because it doesn't start as a cooperative. And then because you already have an established business, there's pre-existing collateral that you can use to secure the transition into a cooperative. That seems like a pretty good transition plan, though it does, of course, necessitate a brief period of private ownership, which was, as we all know, is dog shit. Success factors in addressing barriers to entry. Under the right circumstances, cooperatives are highly resilient, productive, and successful. What factors have been shown to contribute to the success? According to the Canadian Workers' Cooperative Federation, common success factors for the worker co-op movement started in Italy, Spain, and France were sufficient capital accessible to worker co-ops, technical assistance provided to worker co-ops in the startup phase, a mandatory indivisible reserve, at least for those mostly mutual worker co-ops which were able to receive government support, significant federation and consortia structures which support, guide, direct, and help educate the worker cooperatives, significant concentrations by industry, a stronger sense of solidarity and intercooperation, and scale, having achieved a size and strength to enable the worker co-op movements to be taken seriously by governments, the broader cooperative sector. Nice. Okay, and then we have some other articles. This was a phenomenal article. I need to add some fucking thingies to this one. Okay, hold on. Babriers. White Nervosa, just because I like learning. There was another key point I wanted to focus on here. I just want to summarize the value of this. That was a good-ass article. I should go back and cite these a little bit more thoroughly when I go back. I see you people linking shit. I don't know why you think I'm looking at chat. Check this out. Argues that the Swedish model of work dems are anti-radicalist. Wait, but... Oh no, this is like 1,000,000 pages. Is this even about co-ops? The origins and myths of the Swedish model of workplace democracy. But I don't like the Swedish model of workplace democracy. I don't like the Nordic countries. I think they're counter-revolutionary. Okay, I have to get to this in a little bit. Your reason for wanting socialism, economic, or moral? Both. Would you be able to zoom in a little when reading the article, please? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Hold on with the new links, my friends. I've got a lot to look over. Hold on. Let's listen to this Bad Mouse production video. We're going over it all, my friends. We're not stopping. And if you want the pop, don't stop. The party, drop in, don't stop. Get your pop to the starty, don't whop it now. Whoa. Don't pop, get your drop, stop it, dop. Nope, stop it now. Whoa. If you want that, if that's what you're here for, then I'm going to need you to give me some motherfucking money. Okay? Because knowledge does not pay my bills. Give me those goddamn Twitch Prime subscriptions. Give me those motherfucking bits. Give me those goddamn donations. Because you know what? I love learning, but I also love being able to afford my cinnamon Pop-Tarts. Okay? I love you. Yeah, but I don't exactly have a tremendous amount of faith in Bad Mouse Productions. I post some stuff you need to scroll up, though. Sorry, Mod, let's go, champ. I'm... A lot of people posted stuff. I'll get back to it in a little bit. As you can see, we have a lot of tabs open. Let me see what the fuck this is. The moment I detect tanky bullshit, I'm getting out of here.
Love me some cooperatives, like this one, and 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 this one, which, by the way, is right next to this mural. Just saying. Here's where they all are, if you're interested, by the way. But one question does come to mind. Why so few? I mean, Quarter of Broadmead alone has twice as many businesses as there are co-ops in the entirety of Slave City.
If socialism is a better way to run our society, why can't socialist corporations compete with capitalist corporations?
Nicodate was referencing Battersea Power Station, by the way, which is a state-owned company and not a socialist co-op. You know, like this one, and this one, and this one, and this one.
The fact that these socialist corporations, if they do exist, are in the clear minority of corporations.
I don't care about this. This is already stupid. Shut up. Who linked Dead Cells? I know that Dead Cells is cool, guys. Yours is only a paragraph? That's nice. I have a pretty short attention span. Did you seriously just make a public Google document and then link it to me with a paragraph from The Conquest of Bread? Did you seriously just do this? Jesus Christ. Fine, I'll read it just out of respect for your fucking commitment. Kropotkin's take on collectivism applies perfectly to worker co-ops by my understanding of it. Mods! Oh, mods are getting slow. Thank you, leftist tech support. Now, looking at production from this general, synthetic point of view, we cannot hold with the collectivists that payment proportionate to the hours of labor rendered by each would be an ideal arrangement, or even a step in the right direction. Without discussing whether exchange value of goods is really measured in existing societies by the amount of work necessary to produce it, according to the doctrine of Smith and Ricardo, in whose footsteps Marx has followed. Suffice it is to say here, leaving ourselves free to return to the subject later, that the collectivist ideal appeals to us untenable in a society which considers the instruments of labor as common inheritance. Starting from this principle, such a society would find itself forced from the very outset to abandon all forms of wages. The mitigated individualism of the collectivist system certainly could not maintain itself alongside a partial communism. The socialization of land and the instruments of production. A new form of property requires a new form of remuneration. A new method of production cannot exist side by side with the old forms of consumption, any more than it can adapt itself to the old forms of political organization. The wage system arises out of the individual ownership of the land and the instruments of labor. It was the necessary condition for the development of capitalist production, and will perish with it, in spite of the attempt to disguise it as profit-sharing. The common possession of the instruments of labor must necessarily bring with it the enjoyment in common with the fruits of the common labor. I mean, yeah, it is on workers' co-ops, but this is transcending fucking market socialism right here. If I can't, oh my god. All right, we'll put in fucking followers mode. Jesus Christ. There. Must have followed for 1 hour. No, that is not actually Sophia. Did you just edit this Oh no, wait, this is my document, lol. Yeah, I mean, this is relevant, absolutely, but this pertains more towards like a deconstruction of all existing forms of labor organization. You know, that's like, whew, this is a step beyond. This is to go even further beyond. All right. New evidence on wages and employment in worker cooperatives compared with capitalist firms. Delightful. Can I get the PDF for you? The PDF of The Conquest of Bread? The entire thing? We should go beyond? Yeah, but today we're learning on worker co-ops. I understand that workers' cooperatives are not the be-all, end-all solution to capitalism. I understand that they don't facilitate a transition to socialism. What I want to learn about is the ways in which they are beneficial, so I can make arguments that a transition to market socialism would not facilitate a fucking, like, Stone Age regression in our economic production. New plan. Okay, guys.
Right in a very technical...
Okay, guys. This is a video I've wanted to watch for a while, but I'm going to hoist it onto you. Because I need to go poop. I gotta go take a shit. Oh. Oh, no wonder you weren't able to ban that quickly, White Nervosa. Alright, good luck, guys. I love you. Stay strong, okay? Be right back.
Hey everyone. A lot of leftists write in a very technical, academic, and pretentious manner. Why do they do this? I've come up with 3 reasons. First, and most obviously, people mirror how those they read or talk to communicate. They read a book and find themselves copying its language, or they have a conversation and end up talking more and more like their conversation partner. This is just what humans do. They copy each other. In the case of the left, this means copying words like means of production, rupture, or the ideological state apparatus. Second, people gain a sense of superiority and self-worth from communicating and thinking in a highly academic fashion. Through their speech, they are able to demonstrate that they, unlike most people, have read famous authors and can effectively deploy the latest fashionable jargon. Doing so is especially important for gaining in-group currency among other like-minded individuals. If you cannot name-drop the right authors and concepts, then you're clearly not well-read enough and lack intellectual depth. People often learn this habit at university, where in seminars and essays they try to please and impress the academics who assess them. Indeed, at many universities, the academics insist as part of the marking criteria that their students write in this manner. Third, when you communicate in an unclear, pretentious manner, it is very easy to say things that you yourself don't properly understand, let alone your audience, but which have the appearance of insight. This ability proves useful when you are searching for something to say in an argument, or are struggling to phrase an idea in writing. Instead of carefully and painstakingly trying to articulate an idea as clearly as possible, you opt for the easy approach of writing a long sentence full of as much jargon as possible. Defenders of these styles of communication may insist that these things occur in all subcultures. Mountain climbers, for instance, will use terms that you will not hear out of their circle, such as free solo, and may try to gain in-group status through their knowledge of all the right climbing language, while all groups of friends develop in-jokes and slang that outsiders will not understand. The inward-facing nature of in-group language is not a problem for these groups, so why should it be an issue for the left? The answer is that most groups are happy to only communicate amongst themselves and have no need to do otherwise. The radical left is not such a group. They aim for the abolition of systems of power by the oppressed themselves. Building up to such a point of revolution requires that millions of people come to understand these systems of power, that an alternative is possible and desirable, and that there are effective means to make this alternative a reality. With such an emancipatory mission, the left cannot afford to be inward-facing. It must, if it is to achieve its goal, reach broader audiences and grow its numbers. As a result, the usually harmless creation of in-group language through mirroring becomes a problem. This is especially so when what is being copied and reproduced, academic leftist language, is impenetrable to most people alive and difficult and time-consuming to learn. Given this, how we write is not politically neutral. Writing unclearly about issues of importance prevents people from understanding these issues. This helps perpetuate oppression by preventing the oppressed from improving their knowledge and so gaining the understanding required to change society. Some may argue in response that some ideas are just too complex to be expressed in clear, simple terms. While this is true in many cases, the only way to know if it is true in a particular case is to actually try and write about the topic clearly. I frequently find that when I do so, my expression of the idea in complex terms was not a sign of deep insight, but instead a mask to hide my own lack of understanding. Hence why a mark of true understanding is so often the ability to explain something complex in a clear manner. Second, writing clearly is a skill which is only developed through practice. It is not something that you can just do. A musician does not learn to play well unless they practice. The same is true with writing. Those who write in a technical academic manner choose to devote their energies to developing their ability to communicate in this style. Hence why they find it easier to write like this than write clearly. They practice writing unclearly and then wonder why they find it so hard to write clearly. The only way to change this situation is to consciously put in the hours developing a clear writing style. I've spent much of my time deliberately trying to unlearn how my education taught me to write, and aim in videos to communicate academic ideas in a manner that is accessible to non-academics. Whether or not I've succeeded at this is for others to decide.
Imagine saying that you're trying to convey things in the language of the common man and then having a slight British accent. Imagine. Fucking British people. Also, hey, how you doing? That was not the first time that I had spoken with Rem, Pinksy. He called me out in that stream. I was just fucking chilling. I was just having a good old goddamn night. And I turn on Destiny's stream and I see Rem shit-talking me. How was the poop? Loud. Alright, what were we doing? Can I speak in a British accent for you? Have I ever played Tracer in Overwatch? Does the Pope shit in the woods? The answer is yes. Doily doily do. Cheers, love. The cavalry's here. Dustbull 48, I answered this earlier. I don't think Hassan is currently interested in being your friend. Do you remember the left libertarian? Yes, I do. Cheers, love. You've been looking at my bum, ain't you? You want to get in there? You figuring you want to get an old snog of me old dark ring, eh, love? You want to bury your nose in me old toja? Thanks, leftist tech support. Yeah. Oh man. Meta Mod Dank, do you want to come on stream and debate it? Why are you pro-communist if all attempts to build it either collapsed with million dead or turned into username isms and then collapsed with millions dead? I don't know. Is this like a bug in your bot speak? Meta Mod Dank, do you want to come on and tussle? Oh, he wants to tussle. Meta Mod Dank. All right, I'll give you a fucking... let me give you a Discord link, my friend. Let's do it. Nope, sorry. That command is broken. I broke it deliberately, because I fucking hate you people. I am so confident that this is going to open with them just screaming the N-word. I'm so confident. But, we'll see. Da-da-da. MetaMod Dank. I've just PM'd you a link to my Discord. Go into my Discord and then join the channel which says, "Come here to argue with Vosh." And it is from there that you will argue with me. Guys, do you think this Twitch channel called Vosh_Fogget is might be one of the people who's going to spam the N-word after an hour? Reporting takes so long. Please don't let them control the conversation. I'm not going to let anyone control the conversation, my friendo. I'm just curious to hear what they think of leftism. Is there really no way to preemptively, like, ban somebody when you see them in the activity feed? That seems a little bit stupid. /ban, then their name in chat. Well, we can't do it now, or they'll just make another one. Hold on, friendos. Moddank, hurry the fuck up. Join to argue with Vosh. This is your chance, your one moment. Mom's spaghetti. Research, Mom's spaghetti. Vomit on the sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. Sorrel Snake, maybe we can debate today, my friend. Are all Discord invites dead? Yep. Discord's on lockdown till I say otherwise. Oh my god, that was loud.
You are truly one of God's beautiful creatures.
Thank you so fucking much, Mommy's Melted Flake of Snow. What a cute name. For that donation of 5 entire buckaroo dues. You are one of God's beautiful creatures. I love you. Every single little spermie I shot into my underpants when I heard your wonderful message is one of God's beautiful creatures. Thank you. Why is the Discord on lockdown? Following drama. Still waiting on you, Mod Dank. I still don't see no one in that there channel. I also see that nobody's actually joined the Discord, even though I gave you the link. I'm getting bored. Loading, bud? Loading what? How do you load a Discord? Alright. Guys, don't worry. We'll reopen the Discord soon. Yeah, fucking... These fucking library peeps. Sorry, Dex Taquito. You are not the person I am here to argue with. A bit slow on that. You start it, don't worry. Wait, what am I starting? Wait, what do you think we're doing? We're taking a bit of a research break while somebody wastes my time. Menamadank, I'm giving you 60 seconds to... Oh, there we go. They joined the Discord. I'm telling you guys, I'm so confident this is just going to be like screaming the N-word. I'm so confident. All right, I'm bringing them in. My friend, you're now live on stream. How the fuck are you doing? They just left. Why'd they do that? Why did you just leave?
Just a second. I don't know if you can properly hear me.
It is true. I cannot properly hear you at this moment.
Yo.
Yo?
Yo.
I can hear you. You're a bit quiet, though.
Okay, just a second. Okay, just a second. I'm trying to set this up.
No worries, buddy. I waited a few minutes already. I'm not going anywhere.
This will be worth it. I mean...
Will it?
Yeah. So, my mic... I don't like those mics that are not plug and play instantly and you have the beautiful voice. So anyway, you can try to answer the question. What are all those Leninism, Stalinism, Pol Potism, and all those ism are about?
Is that the question you came here to ask me? Because I don't believe in any of those things.
Why? What do you mean? You don't believe that?
I don't believe in Leninism, I don't believe in Stalinism, and I certainly don't believe in Pol Pot-ism. I'm an anarcho-syndicalist. I'm not an authoritarian socialist.
Wait, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me here, but in one of your streams, I actually noticed that you are for violent revolution, for violent politics,
Yes,
or something. And so, what exactly what exactly defines you from all those Leninisms, Stalinisms, and all that stuff? And so the base. I want the base. I want the core. I want the nuke of your belief.
Yeah, I mean, well, just because I'm violent doesn't mean that I have really anything in common with Marxist-Leninists or Stalinists or anything of the sort. We don't describe Marxist-Leninism or Stalinism by the fact that they were violent. We describe them to describe things like the Vanguard Party or state authoritarianism, totalitarianism, state capitalism. We use it to describe certain ideological and cultural tendencies. Just because I advocate for a violent revolution doesn't mean I necessarily believe in any of those things. But I'm an anarcho-syndicalist, so I believe that the syndicate, basically a federation of workers' cooperatives, is the most ethical and effective way of organizing a society. I don't favor top-down authoritarianism. I actually favor a lack of hierarchies in total, the only hierarchies being existing ones of necessity and ones of meritocracy, democratically elected leaders who preside over workers' communes that collectively organize society's resources towards a common end. So yeah,
and how is that different from Leninism?
Because Leninism doesn't believe in any of those things. It doesn't believe in like syndicate federalism. It doesn't believe in a organization of workers' cooperatives. It believes in the establishment of a vanguard party to facilitate a proletarian revolution, and the vanguard party will then interpret and enact the will of the proletariat.
Uh-huh. Well, the problem is every single socialism that was built ever came in with such like ideas and lozungs as you've just stated. So you don't like the government, you don't like the hierarchy, you want like proletarians to actually rule the society. It ends up badly all the time. So
Well,
that's a problem.
not necessarily true. There have been successful socialist societies implemented, and the societies that you're discussing right now, it's not as though an anarchist federalization took over the government and then they became like Stalinists or whatever. Lenin already had an authoritarian streak in him. Stalin continued that streak and exacerbated upon it. Pol Pot was never a leftist theorist. The people that you're citing here don't really have a strong ideological backing towards anti-authoritarianism.
So if people are not having that attitude against hierarchy, so actually what we are dealing with is the wish to make something that people are not really craving on, but with violence. That's the basic core.
Not necessarily. What do you mean? What do you mean? Not something that people are craving on?
Because I don't see the actual wish for that hierarchy drop.
Okay. Do you think that can you give me 50, 100 years for class consciousness to spread, and then we can have our violent revolution after people do want the hierarchy to be dismantled?
That's kind of what happened in Soviet and pre-Soviet Russia.
Well, in Soviet Russia, the Bolsheviks led to the creation of a vanguard party. The majority of the Russian peasantry was not familiar with socialist theory. They weren't necessarily crying out for a destruction of the hierarchy. But I mean, if you're arguing we shouldn't have a violent revolution until people are on board with the idea of socialism, then I completely agree. I don't argue for one right now.
Okay, so I'm just not sure how will it work. Will it work anyways with that hierarchy drop? Do we have any examples of that hierarchy drop and societies that are ruling themselves? Because people tend to be quite inactive. I would say they are quite indifferent, and you can gain only so much of people that are active and that are willing to lead actually the society. And Bolsheviks did actually made the single party system, but every single socialist state made one. Well, so instead of dropping the hierarchy with those lozungs, they made one, and they made terrible ones.
Yeah, that's why I'm not a fan of Marxism-Leninism. I'm not a fan of authoritarian state leftism.
But you are a fan of detaching the property from people. Like, what do you say? Like,
yeah, seizing the means of production. I'm not that doesn't make me authoritarian, though.
That makes you a communistic alignment, I would say.
It means that I'm a socialist, because under socialism, the means of production are democratically controlled. So in order to transition to socialism, anarchy, or communism, the means of production need to be seized from private ownership. That's sort of an essential component. Very often that seizure is violent, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a tanky.
Oh, man. It's like a system that you're trying to actually implement. I can't understand how it works. Like, what's democratic control of means of production? Like, can you describe a single process of that
absolutely.
Actually implements that?
Can I ask what country you live in presently, just so I have a frame
Russia.
of reference? Okay. Okay, well, I assume this is the same in Russia, but I'm going to speak particularly of America, since this is of my experience.
Okay.
Right now, if I wanted to go get a job, I don't. I make money streaming. But if I wanted to, I would go and I would essentially go to an employer and offer to leverage my labor for a living wage. Or, I mean, we would hope it's a living wage. It would probably just be a wage. But essentially, while I worked there, I would be living or working under a dictatorship. I have no means of determining what the company does. I am utterly at the whim of my manager, who is utterly at the whim of his manager, who is utterly at the whim of the owner of this company. It's a very hierarchical institution, corporations, in a free market economy. What a socialist would say is that, hey, what if rather than having all of the wealth, all of the means of production in society being leveraged by private individuals whose interests lean more towards consolidation of wealth rather than its distribution, what if instead we made workplaces democratic? And we can see examples of that in workers' co-ops, which exist here in America sparsely. They exist in Europe. I assume there are some in Russia. I don't know much about Russian market economy at this time. But a co-op is essentially a democratically run workplace. If we had an economy in which all workplaces were run democratically or run by the state, we would have a socialist economy.
So democratically again, like how exactly democratically? You mean you are a Starbucks barista, for example, and so what kind of democracy are you here in for? Like you have a plan that is market being dictated, that is like market dictated to you. I mean, you order the coffee, you make a coffee. I think a lot of companies, I mean, in Russia, they do. A lot of companies, they pay a worker for some rational additions to their systems, like when a worker actually have something to offer to the company. And in America, that's especially true because you have all those top managers, all those people who actually run business for someone. And that's like the most effective people from the demos, I would say. But you have a corporation problem. You do have a corporation problem. I saw your video on the of some debunking of PragerU. Yeah, probably that, with some old men, and you were very upset with all capitalism thing going, and you were mad, and you were very mad. And after all the madness, I heard one little argument about the internet, and I can fully understand that because I dug into the problem, and you guys really paying 10 times more than we pay in Russia for 10 times less, because you don't actually have a free market of providers. In
to be fair, Russia also does not have a free market. You live under a pretty strict oligarchy. I know a little bit about the lack of regulations in your country. It seems pretty dystopian sometimes.
So the lack of regulations is actually a nice thing to do. So the more we see, the more free the market, the better services, and the more the more salaries we see.
Okay, wait, hold on. I need to stop you there because the thing that you just said is demonstrably untrue. Here in America, the more regulations that have been removed, the lower the relative living wage and the average quality of the workplace has begun to grow for the average American worker. There is not an incentive in free market capitalism for the capitalists to do well upon their laborers. So
there is a competition between the capitalists for labor.
Yeah, there is a competition between the capitalists for labor, but rather than them competing in a free economy, it's actually much easier for them to collaborate and collectively lower their wages to a point where they believe that they can effectively leverage whatever existing marginal unemployment there is. There are many, many ways that unregulated capitalists can fuck over the economy and generate an enormous amount of wealth from it. You asked me to describe what kind of transition we could see facilitated through socialism, but now you're defending free market economics to me. I understand that your country has had, say, a sour history with leftism, but that is not in and of itself an argument against the validity of socialism.
Wait, socialism is a system, and advocating against implicating all the methods that socialism include. But I constantly see that free markets work like way better way better than any controlled markets.
How much? Well, I'm not talking about controlled markets. I don't believe in a state
Yeah.
capitalist society. I'm talking about democratically controlled firms.
How exactly that is going? I need a
Well, you
like
you asked.
I'm a barista.
You
I'm a
okay.
barista in Starbucks.
That's
I'm a barista in Starbucks.
That's an honorable profession there.
Okay.
Yeah, like you gave an example of Starbucks, but I can give you an example of how that could be democratically leveraged. Starbucks is a franchise, which means that managers set up individual locations and they follow the code of the broader corporate regulations, and they pay essentially a tithe to the corporation at large, but otherwise they own that franchise. What if instead of a single ownership, a single person owning that given franchise and you working under them, what if instead about 15 or 20 of you, baristas, workers, cleaners, and maybe a financial advisor or two, collectively got together and said, we will own this franchise collectively. We will work and we will all dividend the profits from this place evenly amongst us, and whatever remains, or whatever we need to, we will give back to the corporation. Even as a franchise, you could collectively run one store, and studies have shown, at least in the Western world, in Europe, and even not in Western world, even in Southern America, that co-ops, this democratic leveraging of the workplace, leads not only to higher productivity, but also to higher wages and higher workplace satisfaction. So it seems as though even in the free market economy, co-ops function better than traditionally organized firms.
Well, that's not an argument for the closing of free market. That's more like a structure of company argument.
Yeah, but I'm not making arguments against the market conceptually. I'm making arguments against the way in which we use the market to determine how we organize our labor. I like markets. Anarcho-syndicalism maintains the existence of markets, even in an anarchist society.
Wait, anarcho-syndical. So this is all great and good, but if this actually shows more productivity at first, because productivity for the corporation, so again with the Starbucks example, you have people that run the company that have some stock parts, I don't know how to call them, stock parts of the company, and they work and they are they working better and better because they actually own the company, like a part of that.
Yes,
I can understand that. But first question, why? What's the problem with creating your company and be the example of that, which is absolutely possible on the free market, as we just witnessed. I mean, this touches only the structure.
It is possible to do good in a sea of bad, but I would rather the bad eradicated. You can do a little bit of good yourself, but what you're essentially saying is, what if you lived in a society where at your house, in your home, everyone beat their wives, and you stand up and you say, what if we did something about the wife beating, and somebody turned to you and said, well then just have your own house and don't beat your wife. You can do that.
This analogy is not correct, because we're not dealing with any violence.
Well,
we're dealing
we are.
System.
We have to get into leftist theory here, but under leftist theory, under critical theory, yes, labor exploitation is a form of passive violence.
Labor exploitation. This is in left theory, yes, probably. But again, first, I don't see any leftist models working. I see the implements of parts of leftist models working. Second, there is a lot of branches of leftism, a lot of branches of leftism, and that's the second concern. And the third the first one, where does it work? Why doesn't it work so well? And
Well, we know that cooperatively organized workplaces do work. The only reason why socialist governments have a habitual tendency to not implement these systems equitably is due to a variety of broad, complex socioeconomic global factors that impact the success rate of burgeoning socialist economies. But I think you've shifted the goalposts a little bit here, because I was talking about ways in which a democratically organized workplace could function, and now you're asking me, well, then why haven't we ever had a society where every workplace is democratically organized? That's quite a jump to take there.
Okay, can you name like a single company that works in the way that you've described?
I mean, I can quite easily, yes. The Mondragon Cooperative Corporation is the world's largest co-op. It's based out of Spain, and it has over 80,000 employees. It performs extremely well. Studies have shown that co-ops actually have a tendency to be more resilient to economic hardship and have a higher likelihood of succeeding than traditionally operated workplaces.
Humanity at work, just like I'll have a glance to the Wikipedia.
Please feel free. I do have to say, I do have to go shortly, though. There was another person who wanted to yell at me, and then I have to get back to learning, because it's important that I learn today. It's a learning day.
Okay, so we have an end to our discussion.
Can I tell you something? Normally when I talk to people, I feel like they're fucking idiots. I don't think you're an idiot. I do feel like you maybe have a bad impression of leftism, but I really, really hope that in the near future, or in the broader future, I suppose, you have an opportunity to familiarize yourself with some of the more orthodox leftist literature, because there's some good ass shit out there, my friend. For us streamers, for you baristas, together, we move into the future.
I'm not a barista. That was just an example. I'm an applied mathematician. Yeah, I will definitely. I will definitely love to speak to you. Like again, maybe you will advise me some books, because when I was reading Marx, I was fucking upset. Okay, I was fucking upset. And when I was reading like all the thing I read, I'm kind of upset with the logic. So, and I hear some logic from you, and I'm kind of surprised. I've never heard about no Mondragon Corporation. I'm gonna read on that. So thank you. Maybe we'll catch up later.
Of course.
Definitely.
I enjoyed the conversation very much. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. You too. Have a good stream. Have a nice stream. Okay. Bye.
Farewell. Well, that went so much better than I thought it would. Look at that. Look at that research paying off today. Today. Absolutely. God damn. All right, we're going through it. Where's that other person? Snake Man. Your name was green in my chat. Where are you at? The other right-leaning person. Snake? I feel like there were two S's in your name. Sn. There we go. Snake. All right. Hold up. Hold the fuck up. I don't even know what this guy wants to say, but I'm pretty sure... they're not like a Nazi. Which, you know, is a shame, because I do like to... Okay, my friend. Get on in here. Get into the Discord. Tell me I'm a fucking idiot. Just fuck me up, fam. Just shit down my throat. Shit on my face, brother. Guys, the stream is fine. Every time you start spamming F in chat, my heart actually seizes up. Please, God. Yeah, Sorrel Snake, join the shit. I just PM'd you the link to the Discord. It's only got one use, so don't fucking hog it out to your friend first. Then jump in to join to argue with Vosh. And you better... Can I set up Automod for an hour and you don't realize how awesome dank it is? Yeah, turn on Automod. I'm sorry, White Nervosa. Oh, god damn it. I love you, White Nervosa. Stay strong. All right. There you go. Sorrel Snake. If that don't work, then we're going back to research, because that right there is an authentic, goddamn, legitimate Discord link. You can do it, my friend. Just get in here. Get in here! Hey, wait, we have it so just my face is showing, right? We do. How mad are you guys that I'm looking at porn right now? How fucking mad are you that I'm looking at big titties right now? Oh my god, these titties are so fucking big and ripe. Oh my god, and there's fucking milk squirting everywhere. Oh, they're flopping. There's like a big fucking whirlwind. Oh, Sorrel Snake joined the server. Now get in that Join to Argue with Vosh channel. Sounds like you're having a good day now. I am having a good day, except you fuckers need to donate and sub more. Otherwise, I'm having a good day. Sorrel Snake. Sorrel Snake. Sorrel Snake. Sorrel Snake. Am I looking at the chat in Discord? What chat? Sorrel Snake. 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 That Star Snake, what the fuck is taking you? Hey, the last thing posted in the porn chat on my Discord was a big horse dick getting sucked. That's what I'm talking about. Give me that shit. That's what I'm here for. Sorrel Snake! Sorrel Snake! Sorrel Snake! Sorrel Snake! Blah, 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 blah. Nope, Discord's closed for at least a little while. Yo, your latest YouTube video actually missed something that could have been more fun. Crowd was talking about lefty accepting pedophilia, sexuality, dog whistle for back when the right was letting homosexuality, pedophilia. Yeah, I actually went over that and I regretted that I hadn't talked about that. Which was really annoying because it's the same. Fucking right-leaning people project like hell. They say everything is pedophilia. Snake! What the fuck is taking you? I'm getting so bored. I'm so bored right now. That's true. The horse's balls are getting sucked. Well, Salivala, I got a little half chub while watching it. Does that make you happy? Do you like putting blood in my dick? All right. I'm giving this shit 15 more seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait. Man, I'm stuck with politics, dude, because I wanted to learn about them, form educated opinion. Find it so fucking dull and uninteresting. I cannot retain anything I've researched to know what to do. The trick is just finding ways to research that excite you. I'm not a big, article reader myself. What I really like doing, the kind of research that I love engaging in, is actually teaching it to others. That was always how I would learn in my college classes. I would find people who were less confident than me, and then I would explain it to them, but I would learn as I explained. I would literally just reiterate the passages in the book and, synthesize from them on the go. That's how I learn. That gets my brain engaged. It's the same way that I would formulate ideas for, a D&D plot, for Dungeons & Dragons. I would talk about it with my partner, and the process of conceptualizing it while discussing it was how I would like to learn. You just need to find the process that hits home for you. Can you drag him into voice without him already being in voice? I don't think so. I have resin tubes warming up my titties. Is that hot? No, it's not. I guess that would make the tubes hot. Okay, I'm giving up. Fucking snake dude clearly has bailed out. Let's go back to research. Oh no! Wait, what did Sorrel Snake say? Wait, what did they say that got them banned? No, 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 no. We can unban Snarl Steak. Hold on. There we go. That's all right. We fired off fast. Is it possible for me to... No, Snarl Snake, I cannot pull you into the voice chat unless you are already in a voice channel. Just join a voice channel. How hard is that? Yeah, Snake. Snake! God damn it. All right, forget it. More research. Let's go. He said the link was expired. He got in the server. Guess you have your sub alerts off, but had to do at least one. Enjoy the tiny amount of cash. Wait, no, I have my sub alerts on. There's nothing here. There is nothing here in my activity feed that says anyone subbed. How could you have subbed? It doesn't show up. Well, one way or another, Dracarys, thank you very much for the sub. I sincerely appreciate that. You just got the star? I guess. I don't know why the fuck this keeps happening. Why doesn't it show up in the fucking activity feed? It's really frustrating. If they resubbed, they need to share. But I have resubs turned on my thing. Whatever. Can we just do research? Can we just focus on research? I get bewildered easily, okay? Okay. So far, we've only done fucking 2 articles, okay? We can do better. New evidence on wages and employment in worker cooperatives compared with capitalist firms. Okay. Can we get the PDF? If somebody would like to get me the full academic article for this... Glarbob, I would appreciate it if you did, but if you do so, I need the full PDF listed in a form that I could link to in this document, not just a direct download. This is the Dead Cells thing, which I already know about. We don't need that. Community news online. What the fuck is this? This is just a co-op business's community news? This isn't a fucking thingy. What is a cooperative? Let's learn together.
Ownership matters. It gives people a say in the things they care about. Being an owner in a business, for example, gives people motivation and a stake in its success. But over the last 30 years, the number of people who have control over the businesses that shape our lives has become smaller, not larger. It's no surprise that when you ask them, people say they have no influence in their workplace, over businesses, and over the economy as a whole. Cooperatives, however, offer a solution. From the outside, they may look like any other business, but inside, they are very different. They're owned and controlled together by the people closest to the business: employees, customers, residents, suppliers, not distant shareholders. They have an equal say in how the business is run, and they even decide what to do with the profits. And cooperatives work. There are nearly 7,000 independent co-ops in the UK. They're found in every sector, from high street retailers to farmer-controlled businesses, cooperative pubs and credit unions. Some of our most famous brands come from cooperatives, from champagne and parmesan to Lurpak butter and bird's eye peas. Even Barcelona Football Club is a co-op owned by its fans. Co-ops contribute £37 billion each year to the British economy and boost UK productivity, innovation and entrepreneurship. And they work for the 15 million members who together own the UK's co-ops. Cooperatives give people, in fact all of us, more control over the things that matter. What do you want to do together?
Alright, cool. We all learned a little bit, huh? Pretty light on details, though. Oh, God. Hold on. Let me get the full link to the article. Danke, Glarb. Yes, yes, yes. Yes! All right. I'm getting some fucking links. Truth out. Rich Wolf. All right, gave me that. Thank you, Arcana RX. I appreciate the 25 bits, friend. I'll need that for laundry later. What did I just close? Here. I'll include this cute little what is a cooperative. There. Important. No, too many links. No. All right, stop linking. Ugh. Okay. Could expanding employee ownership be the next big economic policy? This is pretty long. Is the intercept cool? I think I remember the intercept being cool. Two likely Democratic presidential contenders in 2020 made quiet strides in recent years to bring into vogue a little-known policy that fuck you. That could reduce economic inequality, one that harnesses current law to expand workers' ability to become owners in the place of employment. Bernie Sanders and Kirsten Gillibrand, not even talking about the Gravel Gang, have worked to advance legislation only. Okay. Esops. Federal incentives for employee ownership began to dwindle. I gotta speed read this, otherwise we'll be here forever. Last summer, first time in 2 decades, pro-Esop piece of legislation. I hate this right here. Unlike conservatives who have defended employee ownership on the grounds that it's most certainly not socialism, indeed it turned laborers into capitalists, you do not turn laborers into capitalists just because they own a portion of the firm they work at. That's very stupid. Huh. Less likely to be part of a union if you're a woman, it seems. And substantially less likely if you're a married woman. Bit harrowing. Remain skeptical. Non-subsidized. Non-retirement plan, employee owned. Well, this is about ESOPs mostly, which is not the same as a co-op. An ESOP just means that employees own stock in the corporation. What you just said made me think about how internet startups are similar in many ways to a co-op. Yeah, in some respects, yes, if they're formed in the right way. I'm happy to have you here, friend. Okay. Yeah, I'm less interested in ESOPs than I am true co-ops. Ha! This article has been updated to reflect that workers at ESOP companies have retirement accounts that are 2.2 times, not 2.2%, larger than those of workers at traditionally owned companies. Oh, just a little bit off of 2.2% versus 220%. Just a smidge difference. No biggie. Might want to double check how many zeros you throw in front of your numbers before you publish the article. Is Walmart really an ESOP? What? Okay. Yeah, Walmart is the largest ESOP employer. Yeah, that... It's not? Largest ESOP employer. Yeah, an ESOP is not a co-op. An ESOP is a broad American-specific term to refer to a company which has certain, like, employee-friendly aspects. But it's not the same as a co-op. I worked at Walmart. They used to have a policy that if you employed, you got stocks. Well, if Walmart fits within the umbrella of things that are considered ESOPs, that doesn't speak very well to the stringency of the restrictions surrounding ESOPs. Yeah, ESOPs look kind of cucked. I don't know. I don't want to fuck around with that. ESOP companies have retirement accounts that are 2.2 times. Yeah, I want to include this because it sounds good, but an ESOP is not a co-op, so I don't want to include it here. I'm specifically talking about co-ops. The issue of internet startups raised an important problem. What if there are companies where workers work for many years before value is created? YouTube is supposedly just starting to be profitable. What about workers retire and move on before a company starts to become profitable? I mean, that's really difficult, and that is an argument against the existence of co-ops. I can't imagine co-ops would be a really good way of bringing up businesses in fields that have a tendency not to produce profits for a really long time. But thankfully, the second article we looked at, this one right here, talked about how a good strategy for creating co-ops down the line might be reformatting existing businesses. So it might be a good strategy for the capitalist to get things off the ground with the initial investment, and then for the collateral leveraged by the already successful company to allow it to transition into a co-op fairly seamlessly. At least that was what was supported by the literature here. But obviously it would, I mean, that's a pretty big enterprise. They don't have a mechanism in place for an equal distribution of stocks. Well, that's pretty fucking important. We have a very large co-op here in the UK, which has been around for years. The Cooperative group do many things like supermarkets and banks. Here, I'll give them a look. But stop linking shit. I already have so many fucking things to look at right now. McDonald, Labour will give power to workers through ownership funds. Shadow Chancellor. Val's party will force irreversible shift from wealth to power with less most... How long is this? Words. The issue with ESOPs is that the total percent of stocks that can be owned by employees is insignificant. It's an empty gesture. Yeah, that seems to be the case. Pretty unfortunate. What are you going to do? Dracoris, fuck off. All private owners, 250 ownership funds, general election. Okay, my problem with this is that I hate Britbongers. Raiders taking the voice in the workplace, boosting productivity around incentives. Okay. Why the infatuation with co-ops? Are you going to use it specifically or just interest? No, this is important because co-ops are the best way that you can argue in favor of the democratically owned means of productions being leveraged effectively in a post-capitalist society. There are a lot of people who think that, like, oh, if you let the workers that run things, they'll just run into the ground. They don't know how to run a business. But it seems that all existing literature on co-op speaks against that idea. So this is a really good building block to explain to people how a socialist economy could function. I love you guys. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, this looks a little bit too specific for me to apply to broader co-op research. And we were looking at this one. And is this also... This is also about Esops. Man, fucking Esops. Yeah, wait, oh no, that's the same article that we looked at earlier. And this is the same. Who's double linking? Stop! McDonnell and Labor Party will not touch capitalist workplace till they decide to sell or close down. The first option is sell to workers. And if workers don't have the funds, government will lend them. Hell yeah. Yeah, how mad are you guys? How mad are you guys that I actively disable the compressor in OBS so you can get every fucking decibel that I pump down your ear holes? Co-ops are basically intellectual bullets for the battle of debate against capitalism. A pretentious way of saying it, but yes, basically. Okay. Worker cooperatives and WSDEs. Got you muted anyway? Well, what are you gonna do? Okay, worker cooperatives and WSDES. What the fuck are WSDES?
What should I do about my friend who is being indoctrinated by Ben Shapiro?
Unironically, the best thing that I can say is have them watch the video that I did on me dissecting Ben Shapiro's rhetoric. I know that sounds super fucking conceited, and that's because it is, but I feel like I do a pretty good job breaking down how fucking shitty his rhetoric is and how empty and vacuous and misleading he is. I don't know. And if you can't get him to watch a video, maybe just like bait leading statements like, you know, Ben Shapiro is just a fucking hack, right? Like nothing he says is intelligent. And if you think it is, you just don't understand the issues. I think baiting them into getting tilted as fuck might be a decent way. I don't fucking know. I'm sorry. Oh, that sucks though. That really sucks. I don't have any friends who are falling down that rabbit hole. All my friends are like hardcore lefties. Speaking of my videos, hold on. How am I doing? Fosh has nice eyebrows, not gonna lie. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm fucking saying. How's my video doing? Let me see the views. About pushing 2K views. I thought we'd have more than that. That feel when I'm canceled. Ah, well. Feels bad. Okay, let's continue reading. Yeah, that feel when drama killed my channel and I'll never recover, even though we're like 2 days out from it. Okay. The cooperative group trading as the co-op is a British consumer. Okay. Diverse family of retail businesses, including food retail and wholesale, electronic retail, financial service, insurance services. Insurance services as a co-op? Interesting. Legal services and funeral care. Interesting. You know what's especially interesting to me? You guys have read. You guys have read the wait, really? That's not going to do it? Come on, I'm just lazy. You guys have read The Assassination of Fred Hampton, right? The book was written by a guy who did this like quid pro quo like leftist legal service that he ran, that he ran in like the inner city, and it's pretty fucking rad. He worked with the Black Panther Party for a while, and they would like advocate. They like suggested to him that he he get a legal office with like thick, empty like drywall, so that he could pack sandbags in the in between, so that if there was ever a cop shootout near his place, if they ever tried to like take him out, then the sandbags would absorb the bullets. It's really fucking weird imagining people like in America in the recent past fortifying their homes like they're preparing for a war zone. And considering that Fred Hampton was shot like as gunfire through a door frame, well, he was, I mean, at least some of his friendos were. Turned out to be pretty valid, huh? Do you have a reading list? Huh. Reading in 2019. Membership is open to everyone, provided they agree to subscribe £1 sterling in the capital of the society and share the values and principles upon which the group is founded. Okay, so this is just a broad group that encourages... Okay, but it's a diverse family of retail businesses. So is the organization a co-op? Or does it create co-ops? Or are all the things that it facilitates, are all the members, the constituents of the co-op, are they themselves co-ops? Long established itself as an ethical retailer, allow women the same democratic rights within society as men since its founding. When was it founded? Holy shit! It was founded in 1844? And back then it allowed women the same democratic rights within the society as men? Jesus Christ! Back in 1844? That's fucking rad! Nestor the Mind Sculptor, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy the content. Holy fucking shit! The Cooperative group, man, repping that shit. The first major UK retailer to champion fair trade. Cooperative Group has also pioneered a number of other initiatives which are now commonplace, including providing easily interpretable nutritional information on its own brand food, raising animal welfare standards, installing their own renewable energy generation community projects. Jesus Christ. But I want to know, guys, can one of you clarify for me, is this group a co-op itself? And are the businesses that join it themselves co-ops? Okay, because the cooperative group is called a consumer cooperative. Okay, so the co-op itself is a co-op. But what about the businesses that are in the coalition? Are they also co-ops? Dude, that was literally the era of anarchist commie thinking. Yeah, it was, but that doesn't mean most people back in 1844 thought the femoids were human beings too. Okay. The cooperative group has developed over 173 years from the merger of cooperative wholesale societies. Many as well. World War II. Okay, this is all history. Modernization and takeover attempts. By the start of the 1990s, the cooperative movement's share of the UK grocery market had declined to the point where the entire business model was in question. This was at a time when many building societies were demutualizing, as many of the public preferred the short-term financial gain of the windfall payment over the perceived lack of benefits from the mutual model. For a time, it seemed as though the mutual or co-op model was almost dead. The co-op's reputation was not helped in this respect by the factions within the movement, notably the strong rivalry between the CRS and the CWS, acting in a manner which exacerbated the belief held by many members of the public that, rather than working for the interests of all members, co-ops were largely acting in the self-interests of a dominant clique of members within each society. I mean, this is literally what privately owned businesses are, so the worst accusation you can throw at a co-op is that it's kind of like the thing that the alternative is exactly like. Wait, a consumer co-op. Can somebody explain to me what the difference between a consumer co-op and a regular co-op is? ...1990, crucial decade. Capitalists invested in its food stores, increased links to cooperative banks. CWS sold many of its factories to Andrew Reagan back in 1994 for £111 million, and what was initially a highly beneficial arrangement. A consumer co-op is like rent. A housing community can be a consumer co-op. I see. I don't know how the customers would own a supermarket chain. That seems a little weird. So, like, wait. So at a consumer co-op, if you go and you buy something, does that mean now that you have a small share in the company? Like, by purchasing something from them, do you get, like, a membership card? Hold on. Enterprises owned by consumers. So would this be like Costco? Yeah, like Costco. Which is strangely enough not listed in this article. It seems. Interesting, interesting. Okay, and this is a proper cooperative. Yeah, okay. Okay, we'll read up on this. So that would mean this is a consumer cooperative. So this is the same as like Costco. This means I'm not interested in this. Pretty cool that they were, you know, giving a shit about the femoid tea back in the day, but still. Okay. Costco, multinational corporation, Walmart warehouse. Retail warehouse, Costco opens. Nothing here says that Costco is a consumer cooperative. So a consumer cooperative is like Costco. Costco offers its membership. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a consumer cooperative. A real consumer cooperative would take the membership thing a lot more seriously. Did I know about co-ops when I debated X-Skills-Me? Is that why you struggle in some areas? I knew about co-ops, but X-Skills-Me was being insanely disingenuous in that debate, and I got tilted as fuck, okay? There were a number of things that went wrong there. Real consumer cooperatives give their members a percentage of the profit. Wait, so members being the consumers? So if you're a consumer cooperative, you buy from there and you get a membership in the business, and that means you become like a member of the business, and then you get a small portion of the profits? This is so bizarre. Yeah, wait, let's learn more about consumer cooperatives. Owned by consumers and managed democratically, which aim at fulfilling the needs and aspirations of their members. They operate within the market system, independent of the state, oriented towards a service rather than pecuniary profit. Consumers' cooperatives often take the form of retail outlets owned and operated by their consumers, such as food co-ops. However, there are many types of consumer cooperatives operate. Okay. Yeah, the white man's burden argument got me pretty triggered. The fact that the fact that he made the white man's burden argument and tripled down on it, and Destiny didn't recognize how fucking insanely dishonest that was pretty triggering. Okay. What is a cooperative? Co-ops in the UK. Did you seriously just link me like 18 words and then a video that I've... No, that's okay. We're good. I know about co-ops. I'm interested right now in how consumers' cooperatives work. Okay, stop fucking linking. Stop linking. Jesus Christ. I've already got enough tabs to go through. Cooperative federations. Cooperative retail societies are retail co-ops. They should not be confused with retail's cooperatives, whose members are retailers rather than... Industrial Revolution, part of the labor movement. Approach to capital accumulation. The customers or consumers of the goods and or services the cooperative provides are also often the individuals who have provided the capital required to launch or purchase that enterprise. What? That makes no sense. What, so a bunch of people got together and invested in this and they're like, no, in 3 years we'll be able to buy groceries here? What the fuck? What? The major difference between consumers' cooperatives and other form of business, the purpose of a consumers' cooperative association to provide quality goods and services at the lowest cost to consumers/owners rather than to sell goods and goods at the highest price of cost the consumer is willing to pay. I have literally no idea what the fuck this is. Since consumer pursuit of social goals. Okay, everyone who's telling me that there are co-ops and that they exist, that's cool and all. Can somebody help me understand what the fuck a consumer's co-op is? What? They actually give you money? Bojack Horsebones, I don't know why none of it's showing up. Your donations and your subs also aren't showing up in my activity feed. I've been having this problem lately. Look, it's not showing up here. I don't know why. Sub and donate, none of my stuff is showing up stream. How much money do I have to give you if you just say my name, please? I'm a small Twitch baby. I don't understand. I don't know. It's not showing up here. I don't understand. But listen, Bojack Horsebones, you don't need for me to see the actual donations for me to tell you that I love you. Because I fucking love you, my dude. Thank you so goddamn much for the support. Seriously. And you're a sub now. Fucking thank you. Welcome to the Vosh Pit. Oh, there's a fucking bits. Oh.
Voshity is sorry about earlier. I don't have a rightist technical support. If you want to debate, still I got it showing up in my Discord. Here's a little something for wasting your time earlier.
How can I be mad? How can I be mad with a conservative when they give me money for apology? Thank you very much for the 500 bits, Soil Snake. I think I'm dedicated pretty heavily right now to the to the research memes, but I really appreciate the support. Maybe we can debate tomorrow. Why can't I give you any more money? Because mommy took away the family card? That's what I'm saying. It's really frustrating to me, though, that there are, like, subs that go missing. Right now it says that I have only 1 sub today, but according to multiple people, I have received more than 1 sub there. Okay, we gotta focus on this. So let me see if I understand this properly. In a consumer cooperative, you pay for membership into their business, and the business will offer goods to members at the lowest possible price while keeping the lights on, and any excess profits are then divvied up amongst the people who are members of that consumer cooperative. So, for example, they have a cooperative, and they sell 100 apples at, I don't know, 10 cents each. So they make, I don't know, $10, okay? But it actually only costs them $1 to get all the apples. So the remaining $9, the profits, are then divvied up amongst all the people who are members. So all the consumers who are capable of purchasing those apples. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. But the membership is free. Okay. Clara Brob, you're so pushy. Alright, I'll look at this in a second. Okay, that makes sense to me. Thank you guys for helping me understand. This email helped me understand a lot. That's still, by the way, that is still not a proper co-op. So buying stock in a company, but also you get a discount? I guess kind of like that. Garland, please post it. I'll add this. Was it 1.7? 1.3. Okay, I'm clicking Garland's link here, and then I am fucking done clicking links from chat. Look at all the shit. Look at all the shit we have to look over right now. 5 types of cooperatives. Okay, consumer, owned by consumers who buy goods or services from their cooperative. Producer, owned by producers of commodities or crafts who have joined forces to process and market their products. Worker, owned and democratically governed by employees who become co-op members. This is what we're looking for. Worker co-ops. So we should add that to our list. Oh, wait, I already did. Ha 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 ha. Moving on. Purchasing and hybrid. Here. Laugh like a pirate, please. Like that? Is that what you want? All right, obos. Housing Construction Corporation owned by its members. Obos is do-do-do-do-do. Can we get this in English? What's the English equivalent of this link? I don't want to link a fucking article that people will have to translate. Have a PDF you want to link, you can share as a link the file from Google Drive? Yeah, probably. But that stuff just doesn't scale. To have a proper co-op, you need people involved making informed decisions on how the entity is run. I'm not sure what you mean. Worker co-op has $200 membership fee that acts as a deposit you get back when you cancel your membership. It said certain co-op memberships are free, so I want to point this out. Gotcha. Is there something you're hoping to discover with these co-ops? I mean, it seems ideal if you could find a co-op model that is scalable. Again, the reason I'm doing this is to indicate that democratically managed workplaces are a viable means of economic organization. Dracarys, thank you. I mean, this isn't a Wikipedia article, but I'll add it in for now. There's stuff here that we can look into for further research later. What was that, a housing company? Cooperative Building Association. Cool. Also, democratically managed Migos Co-op. Sorry, I have to agree on worker co-ops being viable right now. We already have worker co-ops that exist, Dracarys. Like, they're already viable. They already exist. And from what I'm looking at, evidence seems to suggest currently that worker co-ops don't experience a dip in productivity. If anything, they experience a rise. Yeah, Gentlefish, that's a good point, but would prevent you from expanding. Really, it depends on what the amount of money lost by a business by having excess labor being diverted, siphoned off by the owners of capital, versus however much you lose by being able to pay your workers democratically and the amount of excess capital you can use to expand. Economics is complicated. Okay. So we looked at this. Right. Now we're back on Richard D. Wolfenstein. Another example of a co-op? I keep saying stop linking me stuff, and no one listens, and then I click the link anyway. Why does this Wikipedia article look so weird? Is this a workers' cooperative? It's mobile, take out the M. Oh. I thought that was M for milk because it was about dairy. There we go. All right. I don't see anything here which expressly describes it as a worker co-op. Yeah. Okay, can we please read the Wolfster? Ah. Well, tragically, Bojack Horsebones, 500 bits is the limit for talking on stream. But I'll read your thing out loud anyway. Let's see if bits will get me a talk on stream. Love you, comrade. Now I need to stop giving you money. Sorry. Don't be sorry, my friend. Be happy it happened. I love you. Thank you for the 100 bits. Seriously. I really appreciate the support. Okay. Can we fucking focus? Worker cooperatives and WSDS. How do co-ops of all types actually work in the real world? Don't they frequently fail because the workers are too inclined to put up with poor business practices? How could a large company possibly work if all workers ran it together? Has any research been done on the various ways in which the worker co-op / WS can distribute surplus in different ways than the capitalist firms and change the wealth distribution of society as a whole? The term co-ops cover many different things. Collective buying institutions, collective selling institutions, collective owners. We are... Thank you, Eternia238. I will happily take your bits. I sincerely appreciate the support. And to anyone else who wants to give me money, I'll sincerely appreciate your support, too. I love you. We are mostly interested in yet another type or meaning of co-op, when workers in an enterprise collectively function as their own board of directors. We call this sort of co-op a workers' self-directed enterprise, or WSDE. There really is little broad evidence that compares businesses that are otherwise alike, what, how, and where they produce, except that some are run as top-down hierarchical capitalist enterprises, whereas others are WSDES, co-op, in the sense of worker self-directed enterprises. WSDES still remain relatively few compared with capitalistically organized enterprises. In any case, we don't have grounds to say that WSDES, for example, fail at any greater rate than capitalist enterprises. Where we...
Jesus, just make the funny robot say my words.
You did it. You made it happen. Bojack Horsebones, thank you so fucking much. Thank you so goddamn much for the 500 bits, my friend. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. It really does me good. I love you, personally. And it turns me on a little bit that you've got Bojack in your name, because Bojack is a horse, and I love horsecock. So if you've got a horsecock, let me know. And I'll work with that narratively. WSDES still remain relatively few compared with capitalistically organized enterprises. In any case, we don't have the grounds to say that WSDES, for example, fail at any greater rate than capitalist enterprises. Where we do have some evidence, for example, with the huge Mondragon Cooperative Corporation in northern Spain, it is quite clear that its member co-ops have failed at lower rates than their capitalist counterparts over the past 50 years. Historical evidence suggests that enterprises are very complicated and complex things, utterly dependent for their survival on the interplay of external conditions, over many of which they exert little or no control, and internal conditions, all the technical and interpersonal aspects of producing and distributing goods and services. Special sets of conditions bring enterprises into existence. Changing conditions change those enterprises, and new conditions often end the useful lives of many enterprises. No one aspect of a business, whether it is hierarchical capitalist versus a co-op, ever determines success or failure. Those results always depend on the interplay of many factors. Also, we need to be careful about the word fail. It means different things for capitalist enterprises than for WSDES. Capitalistically organized enterprises focus on bottom lines, such as profit rates or growth rates or market shares. If they don't get those big enough, they fail. Quite differently, WSDS do not focus on 1, 2, or 3 measures. They are concerned about profits and growth, but they are about the welfare of workers and their families, of surrounding communities where they live, of the quality of life and personal development on the job, and so on. In a word, a WSDE that did well on many of those issues, even if its profit rate was low, would not be viewed or treated as a failure. From the WSDE perspective, a capitalist enterprise that scored high on profits and growth, but treated its workers and the surrounding community badly, might well be judged a failure. Capitalist enterprises and WSDES are basically different ways of organizing production. They likely produce correspondingly different ways of wording, thinking, relating to other people, and so on. They have different ways of serving people's needs. Likewise, if and when an enterprise fails and disappears, the two systems differ in how they handle that failure. Capitalist enterprises typically dissolve in bankruptcy, where capitalists and workers are on their own to search for alternative livelihoods. Co-ops, for example the Mondragon Cooperative Corporation in northern Spain, are more likely to work out elaborate systems for finding other work in partner cooperatives for workers from a failed enterprise. If there is not enough work at all, for example, then unemployment is shared. Everyone does 2 hours less work per week, rather than some being completely unemployed. Ain't that a neat idea? Secure unemployment is a major priority for WSDS in ways that it is typically not for capitalist enterprises. From this bullet, this is from chat. From this bullet point, when I say co-ops are viable but not strong, most co-ops employ welfare, but until they can be numerous because they can't be particularly big. Proper focus on employees. Yeah, I agree, but that's not really an argument. It's co-ops as it is the context in which the co-ops exist. Hold on. It would certainly be a major social change/transition to move from the traditional top-down hierarchical capitalist organization of corporate enterprise to the very different model of workers functioning democratically as their own enterprise's board of directors. As with all social changes of such magnitude, there would need to be all sorts of adjustments along the way. The same was true of the social transition from monarchy to parliamentary democracy in Europe, from slavery to free labor in the U.S. South, and so on. In this case, there would need to be education and training for workers so they could properly carry out their new duties as directors alongside their traditional duties as hired workers. Nowadays, a tiny minority of citizens are trained in colleges and business schools to become directors of capitalist enterprises. In the new system, a majority would have to be similarly trained. Just as once only a tiny minority of people attended any school when the kings ruled everything, so now we require public education of everyone in what we like to call a democratic political system. Well, the proposed transition to a democratic economic system inside each enterprise can and will require comparable education and preparation for all. Mass public education and preparation were worth it to support political democracy. I have no doubt that the parallel education and preparation will be worth it to support economic democracy. Glarbob says, send nudes. And the response to this is that my nudes are already public. Somebody leaked them on Twitter. I've got a big fucking dick, though, so I'm good with it. I love you, Glarbob. Thank you very much for the 300 bits. You do my heart warm. Yes, some UMass students investigated alternative distributions of the surplus from those normally chosen by capitalists, alternatives that would be available to WSDES. No direct examination of impact on income and or wealth distribution were undertaken. That'd be an important theoretical inquiry in place like Mondragon. Okay, cool. White Nervosa, you know you always have my ear. Okay. It's true, being sent nudes directly is a lot hotter than just finding nudes, you know? For example, like, if fucking ContraPoint, if Natalie Ryn nudes were, like, leaked, like, if I did look at it, I'd just be like, oh. Cool. But if I got sent ContraPoint nudes, whew, I'd be dabbing on that all day, every day, let me tell you. Is it Win, not Rin? Every time you say dick or cock, I get a little flustered. Is that really true? You know, I did a whole hour-and-a-half stream on sex and dating and flirting, right? Were all of you just fucking, like, frothing and wet and hard the entire time? Jesus Christ. This is from truthout.org. I don't know anything about this. That's not... Okay. Oh, this is by Richard Wolff. Well, there you go. Can I do another? Yeah, I'm always happy to talk about sex and dating and flirting and stuff. Though I feel that recent drama maybe lessens the authority with which I speak on sex slightly. But I can tell you I'm the same age as you and still a virgin. There's nothing wrong with being 25 years old and a virgin. If you want to not be a virgin, though, there are probably steps you can take to slam into that sweet, sweet puss or asshole or throat or wherever you want to get it, you know? This text is so big. Let's zoom out. Jesus. Oh, wait. Actually, unironic question. Hold up. How many people in my chat do you know that you pronounce violation? Yes, I pronounce it violation rather than volition. I know. Thank you. Wait, out of curiosity, how many of you are virgins in chat? This is genuinely not a shaming thing. You know I'm not like that, but I'm sincerely curious how many people watch me who have never had sex. And I'm including oral sex or, you know, just your own, however you want to call it. Gotcha. All right, well, listen, like, for realsies. And again, tempting as it is for me to stay off this topic because the recent drama may lend people to doubt any advice I have on sex. Like, I have, like, a lot of sex. I'm pretty sexually successful, in large part because of my confidence. And, wait, do you guys want me to do, like, another fucking dating stream? Something like how to fucking get on out there? Or maybe just a full-on sex stream. I'll teach you how to, like, put your entire fist in and, like, wiggle it to get the nut. You know? I don't know. We can do something. Sex is cool, but it isn't some kind of achievement. I strongly disagree. My sexual proclivities are absolutely an achievement. They're a product of my charisma and personality. I'm very proud of those things. Do a flirting stream. I don't know how to breach the touch barrier. Yeah. How do I get horsecock? I don't know, but if you find out, let me know. A sex research stream? What is there for me to research when I already know everything? All right. Okay. Dislike putting sex on a pedestal? Yeah, there's nothing about sex that makes it inherently better than any other pursuit. If you're like a charismatic person and you use your charisma to have sex, that's every bit as impressive as being a charismatic person and using your charisma to, like, I don't fucking know, go to rallies and win over people's hearts and minds in a public setting or teach a class. It's not that sex itself is special, it's that I like sex and that I get sex by leveraging my personal talents. And because I am proud of my personal talents, I'm proud of the things that I'm able to get with them. What do you mean? What do you mean with sex is a victory? It sounds weird. Well, because sex is a victory. Sex means, if you're having sex, it means that you were charismatic or attractive enough or whatever to woo over somebody, which I think is an accomplishment, as are many other metrics of determining social achievement. That doesn't mean, it's not like conquering anyone or some weird shit. It's not like the person you're flirting with and have sex with loses or any fucking lame shit like that. They win too. That's also a victory that they can rep. I can be like, hey, I leveraged my infinite charisma to you know, get me some butt, and they can be like, hey, I used my incredibly stretchy asshole to accommodate all 18 inches of Vashvidia's girthy elephantine penis, and that's good for both ends. BDSM kink? I do not have a BDSM kink, so I couldn't really speak authoritatively on that. All right, I'm off the bed. It was a pleasure to get the chance to meet you and contribute. You contributed very much, Dracoris. Have a wonderful sleep, friend. I really appreciate you being here. Being able to make good friends is also a victory? Unquestionably. Hyena, I said that at the beginning. Like, sex is not like sex isn't innately more important than other things. I'm just saying that if you use your talents to get something, whether that be using your physical strength to get a new record in the gym, or using your charisma to have sex with an inordinate number of people in a short length of time, in either case, you should be proud of your accomplishment. Perhaps not a victory, because that sounds like conquest, more like mutual agreement or consentment. No, whoa. What is this assumption of like a zero-sum game? No, victory doesn't sound like conquest, at least not to me. That's not... When I think of like someone who like gets a new PR at the gym, I'd consider that a victory, but I don't think everyone else loses. I don't mean conquest with that. You're not conquering anyone when you have sex. Proud that I can read from... Victory sounds objectifying? Guys, I'm sorry, I really disagree. A victory just means a success. A success means a favorable implementation of your ideals, an accomplishment of some sort. I don't think that there's anything exploitative or anything objectifying or anything alienating about these terms. It's possible that they're often used in those ways, but I wholeheartedly reject the idea that this is the context in which these must be used ubiquitously. Then say success? I said success earlier. Okay, whatever. Okay, fine, sure, whatever. I hate people. Everyone that I've ever fucked, I think I'm better than them. You guys got me. Every person I've ever fucked. With my body, I was going, ooh, whoa, ah, ooh, I'm gonna come. But in my mind, I was going, I have prevailed over this Untermensch, this inferior being. Okay, you guys got me. Okay. This seems to me, it's also by Richard Wolff, and this is making a case for worker co-ops. So this seems to me like it's going to be another argument in favor of their implementation rather than statistical data on their efficacy. More drama viewers win? Hopefully never. No wonder nobody's subbing to me, by the way. The entire chat is subs. Jesus Christ, it's all stars. Can we get, wait, hold on. Sub, shut the fuck up for a second. Can we get a, wait, remember the drama? Listen to what other people tell you. Hyena! A hyena, I'm timing you out. Are you fucking kidding me? because the drama happened, I have to listen to everyone every time anyone disagrees with me on the use of a word. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, can we get the non-subs repping in here? Peepo sad. Do a Getting Friends stream? I mean, I'd be happy to. Yeah, I'll remod her later. I'm gonna get angry messages on my phone in like 30 seconds. All right, good. I just like knowing that the people that are watching me are not just 100% subs. I love you guys, okay? I don't care if you don't have the money to support me. I don't care if you don't like me enough to support me. The fact that you're willing to fucking sit here and listen to me is support enough. What's the minimum for a message readout? It's $5. It's $1 to appear on the stream and $5 for the fucking readout. Twitch Prime subs. Okay. All right. We need to focus. Okay. Let me skim this and see if it basically covers the same points. Okay, I'm going to throw this in and read it later. Okay. We got to get through all these links. Oh, boy. New evidence on wages and employment of worker cooperatives compared with capitalist firms. Oh, boy. Okay. The abstract. This article presents new... Wait, when did this come out? Okay, 2008. This article presents new econometric evidence on the comparative behavior of worker cooperatives and capitalist firms, highlighting the difference in wages and employment responses. We use comprehensive panel data to set that covers the entire population of cooperatives and their capitalist counterparts registered in the Social Security records in Uruguay from April 1996 to December 2015. Okay. Ugh. Good. Introduction. I don't need the introduction, motherfucker. Oh, boy. Oh, that's a lot of words. Reading all of this would literally take an hour. Probably more. I sent Vosh a fucking book PM on Discord by going back and adding on to it because he hasn't read it and he's going to give a heart attack when he sees it. Oh, no. Why you gotta do this to me, White Nervosa? Have you seen the comrades from Portugal? They're ML, but defend worker cooperatives. They just lack the revolutionary thirst. If they're ML, I sincerely doubt they lack the revolutionary thirst. Okay. Jesus Christ, the unemployment rate hit like 18% for a while. Okay. I just want to see the conclusions. This is so much. Also, this is economics, and I don't have the education to analyze or interpret the data of a study. I just want to see the conclusions. You gotta read it or you'll be just like Doyle. I literally don't have the education. What the fuck is this? Triangle in E it equals triangle in E it minus 1 musical note 0 plus triangle in it minus 1 CI musical note 1 plus triangle in W it and fancy and 0 plus triangle in wit cine plus it. I can't. Okay, guys, I am a sociology major, not an economics major. This is Delta. I don't fucking care. Just because it's Delta doesn't mean I can read this. Okay. Give me the conclusion. Concluding remarks and further research. Here we go. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Descriptive statistics. So we're looking at, okay, we've got CFs, WCs, and OPCs. Which one of these is the worker? Capitalist firm, worker firm, and then what's the third one? OPCs. What's an OPC? I don't think it's an Ohio pooled collateral system. I think it might actually refer to something else. Okay. And those firms classified as OPCs. I'm honestly surprised literally anyone has been willing to watch through all this. Other producer cooperatives? How the fuck you... Oh. Because it says. Wait, no, not other. It's all producer cooperative. No, wait, it's OCP PCs. Thank you, White Nervosa. Do you think that guy is like a chud spawn of the guy the other day who didn't understand what the difference between the vagina and the vulva was? Second paragraph? Nope, I'm bored. Okay, let's see. So, we've got capitalist firms and worker cooperatives. Total employment, average employment, okay? Employee standard error, employees percentage, okay, average wages. Average wages of worker cooperatives are much higher. Yep, there's the angry message from my girlfriend. Wages, standard error, manufacturing, transport. Okay. Average wages is substantially higher in WCs. And then we have the wage gap. Here are the definitions of the variables you used earlier that I was confuddled by. Wait, I'm learning. Shut up. I love you, GF of mine. All right, okay, I'm untiming my GF out. Is that not how you spell hyena? Hyena, okay. I did it. All right. Hyena, post something so I can mod you. Well, she'll post in a second, I believe. I can't believe she's fucking dead. That's fucked up. There we go. That's about what I was expecting. All right. You've got your power back. All right. Wage equation. I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified to look at these numbers. We have to look at the conclusion. Our study demonstrates that capitalist firms and worker cooperatives use different wage and employment adjustment mechanics, assessments of long-run micropanel Uruguay, Social Security records. Evidence we presented is broadly consistent with our initial hypotheses as well with the previous empirical work. The effect of output price changes on wage variations is positive for both types of firm, but larger in WCs than CFs. The effect of output price changes on wage variations is positive for both. Okay. So I think what this means is as both WCs and CFs produce more, as the profits rise, there is a positive wage variation for both types of firm, but it is larger in worker-owned cooperatives. CFs exhibit a well-defined and negative relationship between wages and employment. By contrast, WCs display a well-defined and positive relationship between wages and employment. Thus, for WCs, wages and employment move in the same direction. Additionally, for CFs, the effect of output price changes on employment is significantly positive, whereas for WCs, we cannot reject the hypothesis that employment variations are insensitive to output price changes. Interesting, interesting. Analysis. Adjust to shock differently. Crisis negatively affected both wages and employment, though the employment adjustment was larger in CFs. It's inconclusive. Significantly negative wage employment relationship again, exclusively considering wages. Second, employees could be more qualified than cooperative members. Strong bargaining power, empirical test. Okay. This has been tremendously helpful. Thank you to the person who brought this to me. Hold on. Okay. I like your custom avatar picture. Is it from Fooly Cooly? Yeah, I drew it myself. I'm glad you like it. It's my head fucking poking out of Conti's screen. Okay, this is the abstract of the article we just looked at. Ah, Glarbob, thank you very much for the 100 bits, my friend. And you didn't make it dry. You made it informative. We have already collected, guys. Can we get some fucking hypers down there in chat? We have already collected quite a bit of information which verifies the purported efficacy and ethicality of workers' co-ops. The next time I argue about the viability of democratic ownership of the means of production, I will have an enormous amount of ammunition with which to argue in favor of the legitimacy, the stability, and the viability of workers' co-ops.